Well, another live very late at night, almost 12 o'clock. So we're gonna do this live on the 38th summit of the African Union. So you know they have the United States, Europe, and we also have the African Union. It used to be uh, Union African. I think it was to be Union African. Now they call it African Union Commission, something like that. We're gonna go over and we're gonna speak um, about a subject that was very important to us, to Haitian, at this summit. At the summit. So, as we know, Africa is the motherland, c'est berceau de l'humanité. This is where life came. All the studies around the world has proved that Africa is the motherland. This is where life came. So we're gonna speak about that. So we just heard the African Union anthem. So a lot of Asian, African, Caribbean, they don't know this anthem, or we can say hymn of the African Union. So basically, what they said about um, what they said into the song, they go, or let me go over it very quickly. They said, "Let us unite and celebrate together the victories won for our liberation. Let us dedicate ourselves to rise together to defend our liberty and unity." As you know, the continent Africa, it's like 54 countries. 54, I think it's 54. But into they put 55, I don't know exactly why, but it's 54 countries. And they used to say that Africa is the poorest continent and so and so, but that's not true. O son and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky, let us make Africa the tree of life. Very powerful statement. Now they said about they call on the son and the daughters of Africa to unite and make Africa the tree of life. They said, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky, let us make Africa the tree of life. So that means the tree that give life. Again, to come back to my first statement about Africa is the motherland. This is where life came on earth. And there is another part of the song. They said, "Let us all unite and sing together." You always see the team to come together to uphold the bonds that frame our destiny. To uphold, that means we need to come together to uphold the bond that frame our destiny. Let us dedicate ourselves to fight together for lasting peace and justice on earth. As we all know, Africa has been destroyed. There is a lot of injustice in Africa. That's why they really want to emphasize on the togetherness and fight uh, for the destiny of the continent. Very powerful statement. For lasting peace and justice on earth. That means we need to fight for peace and justice on earth, not only in Africa, but around the world. The African Union, they want to fight to have peace in Africa and around the world. Again, they said, "Oh son and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky. Let us make Africa the tree of life. That means if there is life on earth, Africa, there should be the tree of life on earth. The tree of life on earth. All right. So it's kind of a very short song, but a very powerful statement. Very, very strong statement. Always emphasize on the togetherness. And the next part is let us unite and toil together to give the best we have to Africa, the cradle of mankind. That's mean this is where life came from, and found of culture, upright and up to break the down. Again, they said, let us unite and toil together to give the best we have to Africa. Especially, we know some people, they just don't care about Africa. They just said, I'm leaving Africa, I'm leaving the continent because the continent is poor, because there's no future for the young generation, and especially us. And on this month of February, where we celebrate African American history month, so it's very important. So there again, there's a lot of disconnect. Us Asian, us African American, we should take into consideration the African Union summit that went from February 15 to 16, I guess. So 2 or 3 days from now. Again, we gonna listen to some part of it again of the African Union, like 54 countries that form the continent. So they all come together to form the African Union. That's very, very important. With African nation, yes, all right, and again they said, "Let us make Africa the tree of life, the cradle of mankind." And then they said they're gonna fight for justice on earth, not only in Africa, but justice on earth. Very important, very powerful statement. Again, the subject for for this life is to analyze, to have a better understanding from the statement or a draft resolution that President William Ruto from Kenya presented to the African Union. They said they want to make Haiti a sixth region of Africa. Therefore, they are going to expand Africa since we came from Africa and we all know that. So let's analyze, let's try to understand. So, is that a good idea? What are the good or the bad point on the idea? So I think more Asian, more people should go and reflect on that and not going to make any kind of statement and say this is a bad uh, uh, subject or yes or not. So let us find out exactly what happened and exactly why the President William Ruto presented this draft resolution to the African Union so they can consider it to be part of Africa or part of the sixth region of Africa around the world. That's when they want to expand. They want to expand Africa beyond the continent, which is a good thing. But also it's an alliance. Don't forget we are talking about the African Union. So all the people, all the countries who consider themselves or who are in fact from African descent or they have a strong relationship with Africa, they might just like the Francophonie, for example. French, they have a big institution and then we call that Francophonie. And countries that are outside of Europe, outside of French, their comment, their commitment for the French language bound them together to this powerful organization, which is the Francophonie. We got that in Africa, in Canada, in Haiti, in Europe, in I think in a lot of people around the world, they say I'm part of the Francophonie. They want to be a member of this powerful organization and other organization also just like NATO. It's a bunch of countries in Europe. They have a agreement with another country in America, so they can do something together. So this is the freedom that we have. Okay, first of all, this is the 30th summit, just like the United Nations summit or the EU summit or the Asian summit. All the countries or the Arab countries, they have their own summit. They have their regional organization where they held the summit together, leaders, diplomat, head of state, king or whatever responsible for this particular country, and then they send their representatives so in a country to discuss about their personal or about the agreement on a special on many subjects that are very deep to them, and then they want to advance that uh, as normal people. So this is why they had they had this summit, and not many people know about this summit. So many people heard about the summit recently because what the President William Ruto said, like what made Haiti the sixth region. But not only that, Antonio Guterres, the General Secretary of the UN, he also went down there, also went to Addis Abeba. For this year, the summit was in Addis Abeba. Addis Abeba is in Ethiopia. See, Ethiopia, in Ethiopia, they had the summit. And I'm gonna uh, try to play the part where two different people spoke. Uh, the head of state of the Barbados, uh, the Honorable Mia, she also speak on the event, and we're gonna see what she said. All right. Those guys, they always want to make some money. So I'm playing some video from YouTube, so you know, YouTube, they not playing with the advertisement. Yeah, with the advertisement, they need to make some money. So we also we're gonna define a way to make some money from our point of views. All right. So this is that was the closing statement. The closing statement. Uh, that was the closing statement. That was they do not. It's not that important for the purpose of the live. Let me go play another video for you, and you're gonna hear what Antonio. Oh, this is the agenda. This is the agenda of the African Union for 2063. They have a very long way to go. So let's see that together. Where every African can realize their full potential with the implementation of the continent-wide transformative flagship project of Agenda 2063, we can achieve this goal. An integrated high-speed train network will connect African countries so that we can travel and transport goods across the continental strategy for Africa's growth that ensures a collaborative process involving managing the continent's natural resources for all Africans. The world's largest trading zone is the African Continental Free Trade Area, which promotes trade within Africa and with the world. The African passport and the removal of restrictions through the free movement of persons allowing Africans to travel, work, conduct business, and live anywhere within the country. The peaceful Africa will be the Grand Dam will provide affordable and clean electricity, improve affordable air travel through a single African air transport. Basically, they just lay out a lot of projects they want to do between the countries in Africa, which is very important because when countries work together to do a lot of trade, very important because a lot of countries in Africa they buying stuff from other countries. So they don't know which country Africa has such or such goods, so they can trade together. They do not have that right now. So they are working on that. Just like in Haiti, they do not have any good road that connect all the countries all together from land or sea or air. They do not have that, so they are working together to try to have a better communication system to travel freely in Africa from one country to another. They have a lot of planning. Annual African Economic Forum that brings together three African minds to develop strategies to harness the continent's vast resources to the benefit of Africans. And also, we need to emphasize that Africa is a very vast continent, and all the resources are not tapped yet. That means there is a lot of resources, natural resources in Africa that they do not uh, uh, exploit or they do not put onto the market. So that's why a lot of countries are saying that Africa is very poor. So yeah, a lot of resources. Everybody knows that a lot of diamonds, gold, oil, money, a lot of resources. But if you have a lot of resources and then the resources just stay under the earth and then you do not have food or hospital or universities, your technology you will be behind. And electricity is a very big challenge for people in Africa. They do not have energy or electricity to power the house, to power their industries, to power the roads. So this is a big problem in Africa. And that's why a lot of people are saying to Africa, when Africa reach its full potential, it will take over the world. And there is like probably five countries that are very that rapidly develop in Africa is the future. Africa is the future of humanity because all the country, all the a continent like Europe Europe is being uh, uh, developed, or they touch every single piece of land in Europe, in America, in Asia, but Africa is very different. Just like this continent, the Arctic, where there is a lot of ice, so there's a lot of resources that are not being tapped already. So therefore, they say that Africa is gonna be very, very, very big in the long term because of the youth also. There's a lot of youth in Africa. That's what they're talking. They said so they're gonna have summit, regular summit every year, where the brightest mind come and speak about what they're doing and what are the vision for the continent. The establishment of African financial institutions that promote inclusion and transparency. We know that Africa big problem for financing. So Africa has a lot of potential. So they said so they're gonna put some financial institution that's gonna invest into the youth, invest into a lot of stuff. Serve and promote our cultural heritage and celebrate Africa's of the world, promoting cybersecurity and protect our data so that safety online and ensures that emerging technologies are used for the benefit of Africans. An African cultural and legal university that provides access to the highest quality tertiary and continuing education to Africans anywhere in the world. Pan-African for operations and services that transform Africa into a society. An African outer space strategy that fosters involvement across all sectors and positions as a regional market for space products and services. And the Encyclopedia Africana, which will document and celebrate Africa's history, culture, and the contributions of African people throughout the world. Let us unite to build the Africa we want. Visit www.history.it to learn more about Agenda 2063. Well, now they're talking about the agenda there for the continent, and this it's for the 2060. So we know that the UN kind an agenda for 2032, but in Africa they're talking about 2063. That means Africa has a lot of way to go, and they just started with developing all the resources, gold, for example, diamonds, get different mineral, and a lot of rare earth, which the Chinese and they are fighting. Africa got all the resources to make it a very powerful continent, better than Europe, better than America, better even they're gonna take over Russia, over China. This is why Chinese people they are going in Africa uh, full force because they know Africa is the continent of the future. Good. Now, after the summit started, and then a lot of head of state made their statement, and William Ruto said they want Haiti to be part of the African Union. For my opinion, he wrote a draft resolution. That means he submitted a proposal in front of the commission that are in charge of the African Union. So they just now have a new president, so they're gonna have a new cabinet, they're gonna take a little bit of time, and then they're gonna go around all the subject, and they're gonna probably in 2 3 months they're gonna go over the draft resolution. The draft resolution got two parts. First of all, they're gonna have like Haiti. They want to study the possibility to make Haiti the sixth region of Africa, and also they want the mission, the support mission, the multinational support mission to become a mission of peacekeeping. So the UN gonna finance that. So you're gonna have all those other countries to support that also. And then they want the African Union to support this mission so they can send more resources, actually more soldiers or more policemen raid. That means it's not gonna be an initiative to from William Ruto and Kenya, but it's gonna be an African Union effort to help another country. That's why before you can say so Haiti need help. Since Haiti is not part of the African Union, it's gonna be hard for the people from Africa to help Haiti. If we have a coalition, if we are friends, if we are part of an organization, it's gonna be more easy for you to help me or for me to help you. This is the politics, this is the mindsetting behind this proposal. And since we know Kenya with the President Ruto said those guys in Haiti and they need reinforcement, they cannot just sit down and say the United States don't help. And we know the new administration, so they're not gonna support that, they don't care about nothing that happened in Haiti. So it was like a bold strategy, a bold a point to submit this resolution. So to make all the 54 countries in the African Union, in the African continent, to be part of the situation. Because a different country said they're going to send soldiers in Haiti, and then they did why? So probably they do not have any interest in helping Haiti. Right now, all the gangs are taking over the like 90% of the capital. A lot of our cities, Solino, you have Delma, Petroville, all those pretty nice area in opens into the capital. They are now under the gang control. And you see a lot of people, a lot of countries in Latin America, a lot of countries in Europe, a lot of countries in the United States, they don't care because Haiti does not have any strategies. Haiti does not have any good allies. That's the point. Now William Ruto is trying to make Haiti part of Africa. So at least those countries in Africa, they're gonna feel better. They're not gonna put their interests first. They're gonna put the brotherhood because Asian are Africans. Since those Latinos or those people in Europe when they see Haiti going to difficult time, they're gonna say, "Oh my God, that's bad," but they do not have any interest, any personal interest to go there and make this sacrifice. And from us, that was those countries that went in Haiti and they messed it up. Now the Asian people said, I don't want those guys to come, and they really don't want to come. So when we heard that this Kenyan gonna come, people was like, okay, so let them come and see what they're gonna do because probably they're gonna be different from what the United States, Canada, France, Brazil, even Brazil uh, did recently. Because the last time we had the minister uh, left Korea down there, and the other people said, "Oh my God, we cannot trust those guys. We don't want any police. We don't want all those guys because we are with those guys." So this is why President William Ruto said the Kenyan went there because for different reasons. For the personal reason, we all know that they're not gonna go headache. But behind the money, there is another reason why they come because they are African. You cannot sit down and sit like that and then Haiti, a country, a African country, basically Haiti is an African country. They just took us from Africa and then they put us um, Haiti, but we all know the history knows that we are. So after all those political um, uh, discussion in UN, in OEA, different part of the world, and they said, so we need a country that gonna let the mission. Did not want the US, did not want France or Canada, even Brazil, we did not want those guy, and then Kenya, and I said, so let them try. They try and the people said, those Kenyan, okay, so they from Africa, okay, so probably we're gonna give them a chance. We're gonna give them a chance to see exactly what they're gonna do. But they need reinforcement. They need more soldiers. They need more money to get the resource. And those gangs, they are just progressing because they got a lot of guns, they got a lot of bullets from the United States and from the Dominican Republic. Kenya did his best, but as we know, they need reinforcement. You're not gonna do that. The United States not gonna do that. So they said, let us try with the African Union. So if they can get like probably 10,000 soldiers, let's just make um, a crazy idea. Let's just hope this proposal go through. They have a meeting on Haiti. They're gonna study the situation, and then they said so. A failed Haiti is a failed, and that's why those people they don't love Haiti. Haiti is in a bad place, close to the United States with Canada, and those guys are not gonna help Haiti. If we can get like 5,000 or 10,000 African soldiers from 54 states in Africa, so we're gonna do a difference. We're gonna do a big difference. First of all, they said so we need to recognize Haiti as part of Africa. They're gonna be what does that gonna be on the cultural level. So we're gonna have 54 countries. We're gonna have different artists, different singers, different people that just are on the cultural level, and then we're gonna go travel and we're gonna have a direct relationship with them. So we're gonna have a lot of exchange. On the political level, that's going to be also very helpful. And just like for the we can go and participate into a African Cup. Haiti, we just qualify for the for the youth. What about Haiti? Go play one Africa, and then we're gonna play with the Africans. We can play soccer, we can play different kind of sport that's gonna help Haiti from the bottom up. And that's this is our hope. We just hope to see all we can just hope to see all those development because Haiti sometimes just feel alone. No country said so they feel they're gonna come and help. If it was another country around the world, we will see the ally come together to support this country. So that's why I'm thinking so. Well, let us try because Haiti is in such bad position. We need to try every. We need to get every step to find the solution for this problem. And also, I think we want to have a direct relationship for every country in Africa, every single country in Africa, because we are Africans. We are African, and we are very proud of being African. And also, I wanted to show to play for you a very powerful statement from the minister of Barbados. Let me find it out very quickly for you guys. Oh my God. Mm, 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 mm. 3 days ago. Okay, probably. Yeah. Okay, this one. All right, so I'm gonna play a clip for you, a very nice one, where the Prime Minister of Barbados, she gonna make a very powerful statement. And also, this is why the question for Haiti to be part of Africa, to be the sixth region that's been Haiti will be in other country, will be officially in other country in other African countries to be part of the African Union. The African Union it's very, very important for us. We're gonna let me start with this.
Past centuries, the voices of Africans and people of African descent have echoed in.
Okay, people from Africa and African descent, especially for Haiti, we are African descent, just like African American, we are African descent, just like the European descent, Asian descent. We have a direct connection with Africa.
Various quotas with a singular demand: justice. Justice for the millions who were forcibly uprooted from their homes. Justice for those whose lands were plundered, wealth stolen, and dignity were stripped away. And justice for the generations that continue to face economic, social, and political disenfranchisement stemming from historical wrong. As I draw my time in office as Deputy Chairperson of the African Union Commission to an end soon, a unique opportunity is offered to me and one of my teams, SIDO, to introduce to you the 2025 theme of the year: Justice for Africans and People of African Descent through Reparations. As we embark on this journey in 2025, we are guided by the words of the eminent Pan Africanist Kwame Nkrumah, who declared, and I quote, "We face neither east nor west, we face forward."
Hmm.
The African Union's Agenda 2063 envisions a continent that is integrated, prosperous, and driven by its own citizens, a continent that is peaceful. The strength of this Africa has always been in its unity and resilience. At this moment, we stand at the precipice of history, and together we shall pave the way for a more just and dignified future for Africa, the CARICOM, and Africa's global diaspora at large. Your Majesties, Your Excellencies, as I conclude, since I'm not the one to deliver the high level message, we have two leaders who will do it in just a short. But let me take this opportunity to thank all our stakeholders who have journeyed with us. Thank you, Ghana, and our champion, President Mahama, for inspiring the African Union with this theme. I wish to thank you, my dear brother Musafaki, for your leadership and support. But through you also acknowledge.
Okay. You Alban Obala. That's it. Funny you feel like anyway. So we're gonna come back with the speech that is very important, very important to us. But let's go back because YouTube need to make money.
Especially, I wish to recognize two ladies. Madam Koyman from your cabinet chairperson and Angela from SIDO. You did an amazing work. Special appreciation goes to Her Excellency Mia Amor Motle, Prime Minister of Barbados and Chair of the CARICOM Authority. You have traveled all the way from home to another home to join us in today's launch. May I now invite you to come to the podium and address August Assembly. I conclude.
A very powerful statement from Mia. As we know, she's this lady that speak her mind, and then she gonna lay it out because we need justice from a lot, in justice from different people from America, from friends, from Canada. They just took us from Africa, and then they steal a lot of this. They stole people, and then they stole a lot of resources. So now it's very important for us to come together, and this is why the African Union is very important to us, because this fight, the fight we are living in, it's not gonna be one only with us inside or with a group of people. It's gonna require the whole team to work together.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Your Excellencies, and may I start, Chairperson of the African Union, President of Angola, Your Excellency, Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, and our host, Dr. Abiy Ahmed, Your Excellency, outgoing Chairperson of the African Union and President of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania, Your Majesties, Your Excellencies, Heads of State and Government of the African Union, and First Ladies present, Your Excellency, the President of Palestinian Authority, Your Excellency Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, Your Excellency Musa Faki Mohammed, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Your Excellencies, former heads of state and heads of government of the African Union, distinguished delegates, ambassadors, and guests all. I stand here clothed in the spirit of the Battle of Savatoa, conscious that it was that battle within 24 hours that shook the confidence of the powers of Europe, that inspired the people of Africa and the children of the African diaspora that good would prevail over evil and light over darkness, but only in the context of our unity. I stand here conscious that it was that battle that forged the beginnings of Pan-Africanism, that eventually led to the movement for independence and the destruction of the colonial powers to give us not full development and power, but the first steps of political independence. I stand here conscious and buffeted by the dreams and works of the great Pan-African pioneers, and conscious that as a children of the Caribbean, we have long dreamt for the moment of unity with our brothers and sisters of Africa, a division that was secured by those whose success and survival depended on separation of us rather than on the ability for us to act as one common people.
Hmm.
Our relationship, you can say, was embryonic. But regrettably, as long as it has been and as related as we have been, it has been sporadic. And it is up to us as the children of independent states to determine whether the history of separation shall be our future or whether the spirit of Agua can be our inspiration to confront the challenges of a new world.
All right, that's exactly what she's saying. She said they separated us from Africa. They took a lot of people from Africa, and Africa It's very young with a lot of young people. Some people they was to Brazil across the Latin America into the Caribbean. Now the sporadic victories or is will or feature be determined by this generation, or we need to come together to face these challenges. And unfortunately, from day one, the challenge has always come from different places, so different countries. So will the evil from the past, will the countries that were part of colonization, will they come back to this obscene spirit again, or will the United States be alone into this crazy mindset of a war against African or against foreigners or against immigrants? Because now the state mentality came back to Africa with the leaders different, with the head of the state and people around him. They are sick with this mindset. Now they try to make England, they try to make the Germany the worst of the worst from now on until then. We don't know what's gonna happen. So it's very dangerous situation.
Yes, I stand here to talk Africa. I stand here equally as a proud Prime Minister of Barbados, a country which is the first landmass that you reach after you leave this great continent of Africa. A country which became a hub for the wrong reasons. But today I come to Ethiopia to share with you in the Africa Union that we can be a hub now for the right reasons between our two peoples. I stand here as a proud citizen of CARICOM, the Caribbean community, recognizing that as a member of the sixth region of Africa, we have come to reclaim our Atlantic destiny. We have come to ensure that the very futures of our people are different and will not once again be determined by a middleman who will ensure that the middle passage is one that sees our people at the bottom of the ocean's floor of the Atlantic or in the fields of the plantations of the Caribbean. But instead,
She's very deep. She's very deep, and her statement is very clear. She said we should not sit down and let the middlemen, the white people, those slave masters, uh, determine our destiny.
that it will be a future that sees our people, hears our people, feels our people, and that will determine in future that it is we who shall forge the manner in which we cooperate, integrate, and invest rather than simply being victims of a past history. I stand here equally as the chair of the V20, 70 countries across the world that are climate vulnerable, 40% of whom come from this great continent.
And again, the great injustice will be the fight for climate justice. We have been victim from slavery. We have been victim from economic warfare. We have been victim from different stuff. Now it's the climate. All those people they just went to uh, went make a lot of invention, use a lot of resources, and then they messed up the climate. And those goons that are now in power, they said so they don't care about the climate. They said drill baby drill, and then don't care about what the scientists say. And then when you have see rising all those countries into the Caribbean, and then when the weather is going crazy, a lot of disaster gonna happen. Which country that are suffering the most are the Caribbean country, and mostly who are African descent.
Continent of Africa, recognizing that it is only through unity that we can confront the existential crisis of our generation, that of the climate crisis. The Secretary General of the United Nations has already laid out, ably so, many of the iniquities that we continue to face in spite of political independence.
Hmm.
It was His Majesty Haile Selassie who popularized and told us that there shall be no first class or second class citizens. Words popularized by Bob Marley, learned by all of our people without appropriately recognizing the context in which he spoke and the mission which must be ours for generations until it is achieved. He told us that there would be war if there were first class and second class citizens. He told us that there would be war if the color of our skin was more significant than the color of our eyes. And we see here in the continent the continued descent into conflicts,
Hmm.
born out of ethnicity differences, born out of a mad grab for resources, not invariably for our own benefit, but for the benefit of others who seek to use our people as pawns in the determination of their own future.
Now she
But we
that is
stand here
speaking.
as strong people, and we have enough among ourselves to know the difference between right and wrong,
Hmm.
and to forge a future that is not for a few, but for the many. And
Now she's talking about those rich guy that taking over the country, and they're gonna do their dirty beating all around the world, all around different countries. They're gonna put all the crazy people in power into a lot of different countries around the world, and they're gonna work for a few people. And there is a lot of stupid people that do not understand that rich people will never work for poor people, because there is no way. That's not gonna make sense. This is that it's senseless for rich people to help you getting rich, so they gonna become poor, or you're gonna become rich like them. No.
indeed, as the world confronts the climate crisis, it is the poorest of the poor who remain the most vulnerable to floods and droughts and hurricanes. It is the poorest of the poor and soon to be the middle of the middle who will no longer be able to access insurance and therefore to be able to forge ahead with development if we do not make changes. We have examples of a partnership that have worked for us, not just from the spirit of Adwa and the conquest and the rise of the Pan Africanist movement in our history, but within recent times. During the COVID 19 pandemic, it was the African Union, under the leadership towards being marginal.
All right. Those guys, they're not playing with making money. They're not playing. They just wanna say, oh, so every time they just wanna play some advertisements so they can get their money. So this is what it is. So we are not against that. We are not against that. But since we're not gonna get nothing from that, so we're gonna have to. Mhm.
Platform to be able to ensure that we could secure for our own people and a fairer system that allows us to be able to access finance and to be able to put in place measures that allow us to be able to pause our prepayment of debt during the period of necessity for rebuilding after horrific climatic events. We have seen how partnership helps us. We do not need any more evidence.
Hmm.
What is required of us is to lead the way to peace, to prosperity, and to justice. And the reparations which we call for the international community to be able to recognize, first and foremost, with that which we ask from each of our children. Say sorry. Say sorry. And mean it. And after you say sorry, recognize that the future of the world is not possible without the stability of Africa and its diaspora. For as long as hypocrisy and double standards remain, it will be impossible.
Hypocrisy and double standard. That's what we need to get up and fight. Hypocrisy and double standard. So they said Asian, Latinos, you need to go. And then they said white, African, you need to come. This is double standard.
So to secure stability and peace in any nation across the earth. The reparations that we call for, beyond sorry, must be for fair access and development and compensation. Because we each started the journey of independence with a chronic deficit. A deficit of resources, deficit of fairness, a deficit of opportunity. And it is up to us, many of us in the second and third generation of independence, to be able to frame out fairly in a mature conversation what those reparations must look like if we are to attain justice and to inspire the young people of this world that good must always prevail over evil. But it is not only the reparations that we ask from the international community.
Then she's speaking about reparation, just like the African American are talking about reparation. And this is why those right racist supremacists, those populist nationalists, crazy people, they don't even, they can't even stand black people. So now black people are talking about reparation because there were a lot of injustices. They work just like African American. We were working for nothing. We were basically just some object. They use us. They took a lot of advantages, and we have been the tool that make those countries be so rich. Now, a lot of them friends, the US, England, now they being broke, they blame that on us. The whole situation into the United States is a money problem. They made with the Asian because we ended slavery, and then we said a lot of African American, you can come and then you're gonna be free. We started the whole conversation of every man should be free. So this is their problem with us. This is the problem with African American, especially with Haiti. And this is why they made Haiti mess. And she's talking about reparation from the West, from France, from Germany, from Spain, from the US, a lot of people. So if all the people that asking for reparation come together, African American, African Caribbean, Latinos, gonna be something.
Because we ourselves must repair the damage that was foisted on us. The notion that transit visas, begging for them, must be the lot of our people in order to move across this world cannot be something that gives us satisfaction. To go east and to go west, we are forced to go north. It is not right. And it is not beyond the heads of government and heads of state of the region, of the Caribbean community, and of the continent of Africa to determine that we must stop talking about, but simply do. what is necessary to build the air bridges and sea bridges to guarantee that we control our destiny.
And she's talking about the bridges. That means we need to have direct relationship with Africa. We need to have direct conversation. We need to have diplomacy between all the countries in Africa with people with other countries, other nations into the Caribbean and around the world.
I ask us to reflect on this because it is this simple act, apart from our music and our culture and our food, that will guarantee that it is not simply heads of government and heads of state that will meet in Accra or Bridgetown, but it is ordinary people who will be able to trade and to move from the closest point of Dakar to the closest point of Bridgetown, to be able to open up the opportunities that technically ought to be available not just simply through the Africa Free Trade Area or the CARICOM single market and economy, but through the combined opportunities provided by both. I ask us equally to recognize that in an era where AI is threatening to redefine what humanity can do and even if we can survive, that it is not ours to be the victims once again of technology as we were with gunpowder, but it is for us to help shape the future of the world because
She's absolutely amazing. She's absolutely amazing. She got charisma. She's well on point. She's very clear. She's direct. She's seeing the future. She's very, very eloquent.
more often than not, it is Africa and its people who have brought the humanizing forces to bear on civilization. And if we are to be the cradle of civilization, then we are to be the protectors of people and planet, of humanity as we go forward. And some watching on may say, how? And I say, how not? How not does a continent that has 40% of the world's minerals not be in charge of helping to secure the destiny and stability of the planet? How not does the numbers of our two communities, who constitute a third of the world's states, not act in singular purpose to forge the kind of world that we want and to be able to ensure that the institutions that deny access to us to hear our voices as reflective of the continent and of the small island developing states of the world? How do we not secure that admission, which is not only just, but a moral imperative if the world is to have stability in this 21st century? My friends, I ask you, how do we not secure this victory when one in every five and possibly one in every four persons on the planet will come from this continent and its diaspora? Those who lead today have a moral imperative, not just to our citizens in our own countries, but above all else, to unity. The spirit of Agua demands of us that we recognize that even in the face of the greatest technology being foisted upon us, that we can rise and win if we act in unity. This has been a message not given by our generation alone, but by previous generations of African and Caribbean leaders. But we ask ourselves, why does it elude us? And the answer comes not from outside, but only from within. When I speak of the USA with affection, I do not only want to speak of that which is known in the Americas. I want to speak about that which ought to have been possible if the 1884 Berlin talks did not take place. The possibility of the United States of Africa, which is as diverse as India, which is as diverse as China in terms of ethnicity and language and religion.
All right, okay. Again, so they just want to make their money. So YouTube is not playing. They want to make a little bit of money, a little bit of rich, and we do have any problem with that. So they don't give us nothing. So we're not gonna do the daily bidding. yet for them until we see the money.
But we see the unity of ourselves together. This may be the cry. This may be the cry of a naive and romantic daughter of Africa. But if that is the case, I prefer to die being a naive and romantic daughter of Africa than one who is cynical and one who is daunted by the actions and power of others. We know what it is to stand in unity with you to fight apartheid and to fight for the liberation of the peoples of Africa. For when President Castro stood to send people from his own country to Southern Africa to free your people, it was in my own country that the planes refueled, ensuring that that battle was possible.
And then she know the history very well. That means she's not like those women that just sitting around, do their nails, enjoy their time, and don't think about eh, what is going on into the street or what happened like 5, 10 years ago. She's the whole package. She's very amazing. This is unbelievable.
And when 100 years ago, almost, a Barbadian man and woman left our nation and left the United States to come here, Arnold and Mickland Ford. He wrote the anthem and lyrics of the anthem of the United Negro Improvement Association, UNIA, and his wife dared to establish a co-educational school here in Ethiopia, ensuring that boys and girls could receive education in a time and at a time when war was dominating the global landscape. They chose.
She's talking about World War II
rather than darkness.
Mm-hmm.
I ask us today in tangible terms that will allow our people to travel, that will allow us to pool our investments to ensure that the people of Africa not be denied the electricity that is so necessary as a platform for participation in the new world. I ask us not only to pool that investment, but to also ensure that we pool our voices, because there is too much division in this world today. There is too much war and there is too much conflict. And we know what precipitates and causes that. If we leave Addis Ababa with the commitment that the world is not going to be safe without a prosperous and stable Africa, then we understand what is the moral imperatives we must undertake in each of our countries to secure that unity of purpose and to secure ultimately the saving of the people and planet. I ask you today to recognize that, and I thank Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed for agreeing that the first in-face summit of CARICOM and the Africa Union should take place here in Addis Ababa on the 7th of September of this year of our Lord.
Okay. So now and then she's taking the lead of creating more cooperation between the CARICOM, between the countries into the Caribbean countries and Africa. She is building bridges between those two part of the world. That's very beautiful. And that's why President William Ruto strategically asked for the African Union to recognize or to make Haiti part of the 6 region of Africa around the world. That means they're thinking Haiti should be the country that take the lead to do those moves, those geopolitical moves, or to build those alliances. Now she's building alliance between the Caribbean people and people in Africa. We need to build more alliance among us, especially people with African descent. September September 7th. September it's a very important month.
By that simple act, we build on the inaugural summit which took place virtually in 2021. But more importantly, we seek to regularize and to establish as a permanent point of interaction the unity of which I speak and call for. And I ask you as I leave this podium to recognize that we too in the Caribbean want to see you. Indeed, in my own country, in Barbados, we will celebrate the Caribbean Festival of Arts, the 15th Carifesta, from August 20th.
Now she said, I'm not gonna come, but people into in Haiti, people in Barbados, people in Jamaica, they want to see the African Union. They want to see the borders. They want to see all the people from Africa, all the different 54 nations. They want to see. They want to see each other.
2nd to August 31st. And we do so not only asking for those from Cuba and Bahamas in the north, to Venezuela, to Suriname and Guyana in the south, to Belize in the west and the eastern Caribbean to come together to express our commitment to each other creatively through food and fashion and music and dance and art and sculpture and talk. Talk of philosophy, talk of religion, talk of who we are, talk of the future. Yes. I ask us to recognize that we celebrate this year our resilience and that we do so not only asking the people of the Caribbean to come, but the people from whom we came here in Africa, in India, in China, and the continent to which we went, in particular, in Central America and Latin America. This is our moment to show the world that we were not simply apostrophes to the history, modern history.
We're not gonna be an apostrophe.
But that truly we are the ones who can level the playing field and to create the opportunities that will allow the world to see people, hear people, and feel people, and to value the planet and its biodiversity at the very time when it is greatest in crisis. Let us remove the scars of history and be firm craftsmen of our faith, recognizing that the only people who can stop us now are we of ourselves. We have to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery and to build the future that our people want of us and to give them that pride that is theirs. And we must do so in the spirit and with the results of ADWA. Thank you.
Well, that was very beautiful. That was very, very beautiful from her. That was very beautiful. So she's perfect. She's marvelous. She's very. This is unbelievable. Well, okay. So let's hear from now from Antonio Gutierrez. So he was there for. I think that was very important for him to be there, and then he spoke. We're just gonna hear some little part for what he said. Antonio Gutierrez again on his address at the African Union in Addis Ababa.
As others grow rich on your resources.
Others go rich on your resources. That means there's a lot of other countries, European, American, and Asian, they are getting rich with the resources of Africa.
The United Nations panel, countries are plundered, bound to the bottom of value chains as others grow rich on your resources. The work of United Nations panel on critical energy transition minerals is designed to help embed justice, sustainability, and human rights across the value chain. Africa's minerals must benefit Africa's people.
And I think that's gonna be enough for him. So basically, he did a good job. He's not that a racist. He is trying to do his best because people, a lot of people, it's not because they don't wanna do their best, also because where they are, the people they are involved, and what they're saying about all those countries. That's very important for us to understand. Okay, so we can see like different people, they trying to advance their agenda, their own agenda. Also, if we ally with them, or if the agenda is very common to us, we can profit from that. We can, if our interests are aligned with their interests, so we can work with them. So my analysis is that uh, William Muto, for the purpose of his own country and for the purpose of his own interests, he submit this draft to the African Union for Haiti to be part of Africa, or for Haiti to be the sixth region of Africa. That's mean a lot of different countries around the world. It's not like they're gonna take over the land. The same phobia a lot of people have with white people owning land in Haiti. Now they are freaking out because they do not understand. They do not understand Africa, countries in Africa or the African Union. They not take over the land. It's not like they're gonna send an army and then they're gonna steal the land. They're gonna say this is my land and they're gonna do whatever they want. No, this is not the point. It's like an alliance. It's like a cooperation between different other countries. Okay, so that's the point. So they want to strengthen the relationship between Haiti and African Union and different countries um, in inside of the continent of Africa. So this is the first thing, and then they want the support of the African Union to make the MFS a peacekeeping mission, so they can have a lot of resources, military resources, equipment, and also a lot of financial resources, so they're not gonna lose. Because if Haiti fall to the end of the game, it's gonna be a stand on William Ruto, on Kenya, and also into the African Union. Because you remember that the United States, they put the proposal. They said we want this mission to become a peacekeeping mission, because they want other countries around the world to have more connection, to be more concerned with this situation. Now, since they put the proposal to the UN, they said, so you need to take over this mess, so they can say, so they can say, if anything happen, they can say, yes, but we told you guys we need support. You cannot come A1 and blame us, since we told you we need more resources to make this thing work. That's exactly what William Ruto is trying to do. Went to the African Union to say, hey, guess what? I got involved into a situation. It was from the goodness of my heart. I wanted to help. We got into a bad situation. We need help. And I'm proposing you. I'm calling you to call me one hand help. If anything bad happen, you cannot call me one and say you messed up. I'm gonna say I messed up, but I told you to help. So this is the situation. So that means the situation is getting very difficult and a lot of bunch of people, they do not understand this situation, and then they say, oh, they're gonna go and take credit. This is not the reality. It's because they cannot afford by themselves with their resources to get a victory in a, so they call all the institutions to come in and help, because they see after they analyze, after they see the battlefield, and then the gang are taking over the country. They say, hey, guess what? We need your help to help Haiti. That basically required that the United States said to the UN, and that basically the same cry that we are moving. cry to the African Union. They said we need resources, we need more manpower, we need more funding so we can help. Haiti. So that was my analysis in conclusion. So I think it's gonna be a good idea since OER did a lot of bad thing, the UN did a lot of bad thing. We need other organization that can help us. That maybe gonna do a thing differently. And so we need to give it a try, read the paper to get more detail before we go around and say blah 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 blah. That's gonna be very important. So people are gonna report on the Z, they're gonna say this, they're gonna say that, but I'm gonna do some deep analysis. Analysis is that so they think is a RUTO, the Kenyan, they see that Haiti is going to fall into the hand of the gangs. Is saying we need help, and the best way to help Haiti from the African Union is for Haiti to be part of the alliance, just like in Europe with NATO. NATO guy good deal on the countries that are in NATO. They got good deal because of the people that come to help them if they are in a different bad situation. So that's my analysis. And I think that's going to be a pretty good deal since we are African, and then there's a way for more African countries to come in and help. That's gonna be a good, and we're gonna need the help anyway because with this guy in power in the US, we just want to get rid of all those Asian. But that's when the situation gonna be more dire. We need help from the African Union, and that's very important. And for the future, because a lot of kids and in Haiti, we the population is very young, just like in Africa. So we need to get into connection with people in Africa. So they're gonna help us. And I think next year we should have a big delegation to the African Commission or to the African Union Summit next year. So we need to start planning for next year so we can have a delegation that go in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia to try to sign some papers or to get more understanding between from now to next year. We can have a lot of studies, we can uh, have a lot of communication with them to see exactly what that's gonna mean, what it will do we need a parliament to sign off on that, or what exactly we need to be part of Africa. They're not gonna take over the land. They're not gonna tell us what to do and not what to do. They just gonna work with them just like we work with different country. It's gonna be for a purpose of security, a purpose of trade, a purpose of alliance. We need friends. Haiti does not have any friends right now that gonna come around and help. So we need to go one just like all other people. They said, let me go talk to those guys. Let me go talk to those guys to see what they can offer me, where my interests, who can help me so I can help them. This is the way the world is working right now. Some people they said so they just want to take over from land. What about this guy said, oh, we're gonna take over this land. We need friends, we need people that are gonna come and back up us. Now he cannot take Canada because Canada is a very powerful country. A lot of people gonna come to its rescue, just like Guido said. So guess what? We're gonna sell our gas to China, right? We're not gonna sell you any. We're not gonna sell you stuff. We're gonna sell our stuff to China. If you wanna play the game of backstabber, so let us all play the game of backstabber. If you wanna play disrespectful, so let us play the this. respectful game. So that's the situation. We need to make move. We need to strategize. We need to make move to go see other people. So it is what it is. We need to do our best with this situation, and I think this is a very a very important thing to sit on it, to look at it, to and just not reject that, and we're not gonna do this is that's gonna be a stupid. Just like other people, they just we need to sit down and talk. You're not gonna make a deal behind my back and sell me just like we used to sell those African. We used to sell African into this market. And they say, "What is your price? I want to give you there." And then and then the slave get in as a ship. They just the guy just wanna treat Zelensky just like a slave. This is very sad. So some people they never gonna wake up from slavery. They never gonna wake up from the 1629. They never gonna go from the back then they was slave. They never gonna forget that. They just gonna consider if you poor, if you black, if you Latino, if you do not have enough money, so they're gonna see you just like enough like very disrespectful. And then this is what Zelensky is like. We need to make move. We need to move our ass to find some solution and to see where our interests are. All right, so thank you guys again. It was a very late live, but it was very important. Again, we're not gonna do it for views. We are not doing it for a lot of things, but from direct analysis because it's a very dangerous world. A lot of people they just wanna go with other people. They're not gonna sit down and put their mind, put their thought into different, to very cool, very difficult situation. Thank you, and it's for the history.